Yo, 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 guys. Welcome back to the Get Into the Bag podcast. I go by Polo Show. I'm a rapper and entrepreneur based here in the YYC. And my guest today is,
Angie Vargas.
yeah. This is season 4, episode 2. As always, we're going to talk hip hop. We're going to talk local hip hop. And hopefully we're going to give you guys some game on Get Into the Bag.
Perfect. Let's get into it.
Yeah. So thank you for making it today, Angie.
Yeah, of course. Happy to be here.
Great.
Yeah.
So first of all, I just want to get into it. This is a hip hop podcast. What is your calling card? Like what is your earliest memory that got you into
hip hop?
Into hip hop or music in general?
Ooh, music in general. Well, I think I just grew up with music. My parents have always listened to a lot of music, and they're Colombian, so they're big dancers.
Right.
So music in the house has always been like a thing. My earliest memory from hip hop, I think when I was in high school, probably. So I'm kind of a newbie compared to some people. I think listening to Nicki Minaj probably on the radio. And I was like, this is really cool. I like it. I dig it. And then, my boyfriend at the time gave me a Kanye West CD, and he was like, all right, get into it. So that's kind of my first recollections of actually enjoying hip hop.
Do you remember
an individual?
What CD that was by Kanye?
Which one's the one where Runaway
That's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah, that one.
Classic.
Yeah.
He basically just gave you like your first bag of crack.
Yeah, he was like,
so in the house.
He's like, this is a good one. It's like kind of chill because he listens to more hype hip hop, I would say. And he's like, this is chill. You'll like it. You'll get into it. And I think he wanted us to kind of share that common interest. So he gave me My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and I digged it. It was dope. So I got into it.
And that's what got you into hip hop. And so let me ask you this. This is something I guess I ask everyone now is like, who are your, in rap, we say who's the top 5 rappers. Right. Let's call it top 5 like hip hop artists, that have inspired you,
in general?
In general, yeah.
Ooh. That's kind of tough. I feel like I have a top 5 like mainstream or like, known artists, and a top 5 like Calgary artist. So, or like local, more underground kind of artists. I would definitely say Nicki, Kanye, J. Cole, Biggie. That's 4. And Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, top 5. Like known artist.
Yeah.
Known artist.
I know, that's fair. And it's just, I guess I asked that just to give me like an idea of like what your palette is in like hip hop. Like I feel like everyone's, hip hop is so like broad these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of seeing where everyone's at.
So what do you get from that?
No, I mean,
curious.
Just like, I guess that you have like, I feel like hip hop is like, as the way I see it these days, there's the contemporaries who like to them, like Nas and Illmatic is like the Bible. So like the old school era of hip hop.
Yeah.
And then there's like the new wave of like XXX, Juice WRLD, like Lil Baby, Future. Yeah. It's a completely different style, but that's also hip hop. And then like what you described to me is kind of the middle ground. Like even like J. Cole describes himself as like the middle child, right? So all those artists like Nicki, Drake. So I kind of like, that's how I see it. I see it as like the golden era, the modern era, and then there's that kind of 2009 era. Yeah. Which is kind of like in between. So it's like, that tells me you can appreciate both sides.
Yeah. Like 2016 era, all the albums were good. Just, Drake album, J. Cole album, Kanye West albums, like, damn, everything's so good.
Those were the times. Were the times. How do you feel about just the current state of music? Because you just brought that up. You're like, oh man, that during that 5-year or what is 10-year stretch, all the albums are good. You knew you could expect all these great albums from these artists. Do you feel like that's the same today?
I feel like it's kind of harder to find great albums. I'm definitely an album person, so I like listening to the album like from start to finish kind of thing. And these days it feels like everything's more, I don't know how to say it. It's just like consumable, I feel like, so it's just like people listen to albums like 1 week and then they're like, okay, what's the next one, the next week, you know what I mean? Like people these days don't stay listening to albums for a while, or they'll just pick some songs that they like from the albums and then they like those songs on Spotify or whatever streaming service, and then those are the songs that they listen to, and not oh, this album, that album, right? So, and I feel like it's definitely harder to find good albums, but it's definitely still doable. You just have to, be looking for more new music, and then exploring new artists, and then seeing what these artists come up with, and like what albums are being made, I guess.
So let me ask you this, and this kind of just goes into like the current climate of things. We live in an era, like you just said, like if you put out an album, most people are gonna skim through the album. They're gonna like find the 2-3 songs they like, and they're gonna add it to their playlist. And that's, you know what I mean? They'll never listen to that whole album again. They'll just listen to the three track. It's been said that this is a single market now. Like you put out singles because, if you put out the one song people like, it's gonna be in their playlist.
Yeah.
You have a better chance of doing that, getting into someone's playlist, putting out one song at a time than putting out even more than 3 songs at a time, right? Do you think the album is dead? Like, do you think like an artist trying to break through right now is wasting their time doing albums? Or do you think the name of the game is singles? And I guess this is based on your insight with musicians and as a fan. Like, you know what I mean? What if there's some new artist you just discovered, like you want more, you just heard one song and you want more, like, do you want it in singles or do you want a project?
Well, I feel like I said, like I'm an album person,
right?
So I don't know if I'm the same as everyone, but I think artists should still aim to create whole albums,
right.
Especially if it's a hip hop artist, because the beauty of hip hop is storytelling, right?
Of course.
And to tell a story with a song is great, but when you can do it as a cohesive piece in an album, it really shows that you have a different level of artistry, right? So for me, I still want to listen to whole albums. I don't know if I'm the regular case, the regular consumer of music. But I definitely think that the way that we're consuming like music and content these days is just so like, okay, on to the next.
Right.
And I can see how singles could be more effective for the general population. But as a fan and people that love hip hop as hip hop, not just like, oh, music, Drake or whatever, right? Just like actually love hip hop because, we listen to all these different artists and we love the storytelling. I think that we're still looking for albums.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially those great albums.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear, because definitely, not everyone feels that way, but I feel like that's kind of in today's market. Like I said, there's so many different, like hip hop is so broad these days. There's so many different types of hip hop that for a certain artist, singles is the way to go. Right. And then there are the artists who like, they'll show their best foot forward with an album, and I feel like, I guess that question was just, there are some people who said like, just stop doing albums. There's that, no one's doing that anymore, but it's like it's just like any kind of art. You know what I mean? Like if you put it out into the world, like the right people will gravitate towards it. Right. So that's good to hear that, there's still people out there, and I'm glad you're one of them, that can appreciate that.
Yeah.
I guess my next question for you is, cause you had mentioned, local acts earlier. So you said you have a top 5 of local acts.
I feel like that's just gonna be very biased, but
it's gonna be political, of course. But yeah.
But top 5. Top 5. Like local. Yeah. I think it's local in Calgary. But yeah. Dizzy Waka, obviously, 86 Love. Mackie Lavender, I'm a big fan. I think Mackie's just like the kind of artist. He's a Montreal artist, and he has like a lot of music. He has albums, he has EPs, he has singles, and they're all like different. Like he doesn't stick to one sound. He's very experimental, which I really like. Cartel Madras. I think they're amazing.
Right.
And I have to pick one more person. Hip hop wise. Think about the people that we know. The Fool, definitely. Yeah, he's really talented. He doesn't have that much music out, but he's actually he has quite a bit of music on SoundCloud, but not Spotify. But he's just really talented.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talented people in Calgary. Yeah, definitely.
I think I've seen him perform at that Halloween show.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Okay.
he did the last set.
Yeah.
That's the Fool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's talented.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Okay.
You've said your list is biased, but what goes into making your list? Like, what goes into being an artist that is of the caliber that you're like, okay, this is one of the top artists that I'm looking at locally?
Yeah. I think that for me, with music, with any type, I'm just like, okay, like, obviously, are they good at what they're doing? Like, are they good at their craft? Like putting like a song together with the beat and the flow and what they're saying, like lyrically. But I think good art, you can tell when it's good art if they like make you feel something, So I have had songs that I've listened to, like from The Fool or Dizzy, that I'm just like, damn, it really hit me because of what they're saying and the way that they're saying it, that it just really kind of evokes an emotion within me. So I think that great artistry, no matter what it is, no matter if it's music, visual, or anything, it's just, if it really kind of hits and it makes you feel something, that's what makes a good artist.
Yeah. That's a great answer.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's very it's very genuine because that's what music is. It should make you feel something. At its core, obviously there's a lot of, and that's the beauty of music. We use music to inspire a vibe, whether it's to go turn up or whether it's because we're feeling sad and we want something to feel be like a coat,
exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, no, that's a great answer.
Yeah. And I feel like, for example, like Cartel Madras, they don't make me feel sad. They make me feel so hype, right? And I'm just like, I just want to jump and mosh and just kind of feel that hype. So other than them being amazing artists with the way that they style themselves, their marketing and what they've done for themselves as artists, when I've seen them live, I'm like, yeah, I feel this. It's hype. You feel that hype, right? Yeah. So energy. Different emotions, but it really just kind of evokes something. Yeah.
No, that's great. So let's talk a bit more about kind of what you do here in the local community. Do you want to elaborate on that so I don't
Sure.
What is it that you see yourself doing, and how would you describe it?
I would say I'm a promoter, an events curator or producer, and a booking agent. As if I have to say what I'm doing as positions. I used to hate the word promoter. I used to hate it because a lot of promoters have very negative reputations, I feel like. So I'm like, oh no, that's not me. But I'm like, well, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm just, I don't know. I feel like I'm different. Just being a promoter, it just depends on what your intentions are. If you're a good promoter or a bad promoter. Maybe you're a good promoter because you're making a lot of money, but you have bad intentions for artists. So I don't know. I didn't like the word, but now I'm embracing it. I'm like, yes, I'm a promoter. Yeah.
No, that's fair. And so what is the name of the company that you promote under?
Namoki Entertainment. Yeah.
Right. So tell me how that started and what made you decide to pursue this.
Okay. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned the Halloween party that that I kind of booked you for. But yeah, that's how it started. So it started with that party, actually. Actually, The Fool was looking for an events coordinator, and he posted it on Facebook. He's like, I'm looking for an events coordinator. And I was a project coordinator at the time. So I'm like, I feel like this is the same, how different can it be? I feel like it's the same skill. So I was like, yo, I can be your events coordinator. And then, going through it, just, just doing it. the process, I was like, oh, I love this. Like, this is so much fun. And it is very transferable skills. It is pretty much the same thing. It's just like talking to people, trying to, get the best deals for your event, and then trying to kind of put something cohesive together. It's pretty much the same: project coordination, event coordination, and then I was like, I wanna do this. I wanna do this more. So that was October 2021, and then I kind of started working on different showcases after that. And now I kind of do it works differently now, like before it was just kind of like, if someone was like, hey, I want to do a showcase with you, like, can you help me do this? Then I'd be like, yeah, basically. Like, I would say yes to everything. Right. And then it kind of, was a little bit, it wasn't always the best case scenario for me, I feel like. And then this year is more like, I'm going to do my own shows, my own showcases, and then my own events, and not really work with a client, basically.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah. So now it's just kind of like, it was my own thing, but now it's like my own thing as in like, okay, I have like my team and I have control of everything, basically, and not, like the client has the final say. It's like, I have the final say for everything. So I don't know. It works better because, like I said, not everyone has the best intentions, so especially for artists.
That's true.
So I think that, I know kind of like my standards and my values. And when it comes to like working in the music industry, that me doing it independently and not having to respond to other people just works better for me. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So you spoke earlier about you didn't like the word promoter. And because there are bad promoters, like people who have bad intentions. So like speak a bit about like what that looks like. So what is the difference between a bad promoter and a good promoter?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like what I was saying, where I'm just like, okay, is it a bad promoter because they're not making money, or is it a bad promoter because they don't have good intentions, Or like, is it a good promoter because they're making a lot of money, or because they have good intentions, right? So for me, being a good promoter would be having the right intentions, and like really building the collective, really building the community, and really having like the best intentions for artists. That's what being a good promoter would be for me,
Yeah.
And I think that some promoters just want to make money, and, they don't really care about how they treat artists, or like how they compensate artists, or not even just artists, just people that they work with, like the venues, like the bartenders, I don't know, the DJs,
Yeah.
like any other person that kind of compromises the event or is part of the event. Yeah.
No, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
And so what do you want your lasting impact to be with what you're doing with Namoki events?
Well, I guess our motto was building community through music, but I feel like a lot of people are doing that, and it doesn't really kind of like differentiate me. What I want is to change the music industry a little bit in the way that artists are compensated and artists are valued. So that I think that would be the impact that I wanna have in the industry. And I don't know, I feel like I have a really good reputation because I do that, because I value artists, and I'm never, if I have a show where I'm like, hey, I'm gonna pay you this much money, I'm never gonna like just ghost you and not pay you, or or not treat you right before, during, and after the show, right? It's just it's just valuing artists and like making a community where artists are valued just as much as anyone else in the society, engineers, doctors, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, we're all kind of like putting something out, and it should be appreciated, especially for artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's beautiful. Yeah, I feel like as an artist myself, like that's what you want to hear. You want to hear that there are people who have these initiatives, like, and that's what you said, promoters that have good intentions, that have these initiatives that they do want to make things better for artists in the long run, right? Because it can be tough being an artist and trying to navigate the business side of things, right? Music is easy, right? But it's the music business, right? And so it's having people that are on your side on the other side of things does help.
Yeah.
So yeah, kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
So dialing it back here, I remember we had a conversation once about I think me and Sawyer we used to do these album debates.
Right.
And basically I was just telling Sawyer like, yo, what's it called? What's Kendrick Lamar's second album? To Pimp a Butterfly?
Yeah.
It's not a classic album. It's not even a good album. It's not listenable. Do you still stand by like that's like one of your favorite albums?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm like, please tell the people.
No, don't say that.
Please tell the people like what it is that you love about that album, or like what do you take away from that?
Like what do you not like about that album?
It's just like it's not even it's all like African funk beats. Bro's like not even like rapping about relatable stuff. Like I can't play that right now in here. You know what I mean? It's just not, I don't know, like it's just so left, you know? And I feel like everybody was on like Kendrick's dick, like after Good Kid, Mad City, the Grammy like didn't give him the Grammy, they gave it to Macklemore. So it just felt like it didn't matter what he did, they were gonna give him a Grammy, you know? So it felt like he could just do whatever. It could have been a blank disc. It would have gotten the same praise, you know? And so for me, I don't feel like that album lives up to the hype that it does. It's just so like, it's hard for me to listen to it. It's just not like orthodox. And maybe that's what makes it unique, but it's, I'm like, what is this? You know, is everyone just hopping on this bandwagon? Or so I guess I have you here and I'm trying to like understand, like, what is it you like about that album?
Okay, fair. Well, first of all, I think that album put me onto Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, that was the album?
Yeah.
All right.
So, for me, yeah. And I don't even know kind of like how I discovered it. It was just kind of like I was traveling and it was like on repeat for me. It was on repeat. And every time that I like listen to the album, it's just, for me, it's about the storytelling, you know? And I wasn't even thinking about like the beats. I feel like there's like a lot of songs that are very catchy on that album, obviously, you know, and then, but like the cohesiveness of the album, I feel like it's super cohesive. It's just a whole story where you can, you know, where he just like takes you on like a whole journey, like throughout the album. And then it ends up like with a poem, which is, I don't know. I think it was like really cool, like the way that he did it with everything, with the whole album. And every time I listen to that album, at that time when I discovered it, I just feel like I would listen to the lyrics like so intensely, and then I'm like, what? He said this? And then, you know, like I feel like I would discover something new about the story every time that I listen to it.
It seems like a spoken word, like jazz album, you know? And if we're going to rate it in that category, then I'll rate it highly. But for a rap album, like it just falls short for me. And that's, you know, I don't know. Toro's one of my homies, and, you know, we definitely have similar tastes, but that's something that we differ on. Like, yeah, I don't like that.
That's so funny. Like, I totally remember when because that was during the pandemic, and that's when I started following you. Because I started following you. It was like the YYC hip hop hashtag, you know, and then I saw like one of your posts and I saw that you were hustling and stuff. And then it was the pandemic. So this was like pre-pandemic. And then it was the pandemic. And then you guys would have these lives and just talk about hip hop, and I would just be like, well, what else am I gonna do? You know, like,
I just remember you like getting in the conversation, like siding with him, and I was just like, what's going on? I thought everyone thought this album was like,
you know?
But yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
I guess it's good. It's good that I've met you and that we've had this. I feel like, so we kind of met virtually, I would say. And then we met in person, like only a handful of times, you know? And I guess because meeting was like pre-COVID. And so when we were working together, it was COVID time. So it wasn't really a meetup thing, but, no, I guess, just giving you your kudos. I'm glad to see like what you're doing in the community. I'm glad to see that you're active, and doing your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's really what I wanted to, I guess, say to you, as a closing statement to this podcast. One thing I wanted to add to this podcast, so we usually did it on previous, seasons, is artist motivation. So just leaving artists with like a quote. This podcast is called Getting to the Bag, you know. So we want artists to listen to this, and it's just like a shot of adrenaline. It's like, all right, yo, let's go get this shit, you know. So what's a quote, you know, or just like a lyric, or you know, just something to like leave the creatives with, that's gonna take them to that next level.
Ooh, a lyric? No, I don't have a lyric, but I think just
even with all those like To Pimp a Butterfly quotes, you don't have
any? No, I think getting to the bag. I feel like for any artist or anyone that just wants to do something related to music or related to entrepreneurship, I say just do it. You'll figure it out as you go. You know, for me, I didn't even know like event curator, event producer, like I didn't even know that was a thing, you know, and I was like on my business cards, you know, and I didn't know what it entailed, but I just know that it was something that I wanted to try it and that I just did. And I just learned on the way. And there were so many steps of failures, I would say, you know, because it's just something that people don't really see,
you learn as you go.
Yeah. But there's, you know, you will learn from every opportunity and every chance that you get. So just take those chances, do what you want to do. And, you know, you will figure it out eventually, you know? And I feel like for me in the music business, there's a lot of things that I don't know, but every time I go out and I talk to someone and I try to do it, I'm like, okay, I learned and I like made it better the next time. It's just about improving. You don't have to be perfect. Just do it. And, yeah, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the takeaway there is just like, yeah, if it's what you're passionate about, just start with what you have, and better tools will find you. Like you'll pick it up along the way.
Even if you're not like passionate about it, just try it. Just try it. Just do something, you know? Like, yeah. For me, I think I never really knew that I was passionate about music. It was just always around. And now I'm like, oh yeah, I love it, you know? But I never knew it was just like, oh, this is like a passion of mine. It's just something that is like, oh, I just want to try it. I just want to see what happens if I make a show, if I helped out with this, if I become someone's manager, you know, I'm just like, yeah, because, you know, I feel like, well, that's basically how me and Dizzy started. Like, that's how I started being a booking agent. And I was just like, I'm your manager now. And I'm like, I don't know shit about managing an artist, you know, but I know that artists should get paid. And I guess I am passionate about that, but I do something that you can try it and then just learn as you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was an artist motivation from Angie. You heard it here first. So yeah, guys, that was Getting to the Bag Season 4, Episode 2. I go by Polo Show. I'm a rapper, an entrepreneur. You can find me on all streaming platforms at Polo Show. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Polo Show YYC. Make sure to follow YYC Hip Hop Daily on Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube. Make sure to follow the podcast if you're listening to it on a podcast platform. Make sure to pull up to our first live event that's shut down July 13th. Please plug your info.
Okay. I'm Angie. You can find me at the other Angie on Instagram or namoki.ent for entertainment. And yeah, I'm a booking agent and an events producer. So yeah, holla at me.
Peace.
Hey, perfect.